Hello. Alright. This is the first time I record one of these videos where I just speak off the cuff, so keep in mind that English is not my first language. I do my best to enunciate properly and I hope that you all understand me. This video is about the future of Spectre, my video game project, and this channel. First, let me say that if you are part of our little Discord community, or if you have been an alpha tester for the game, that your help has been exemplary and your input was very much appreciated. Now, I hope you understand me. Jesus Christ, I sound like a complete fresh off the boat foreigner. Now, unfortunately, I will cease working on Spectre in Game Guru. I know that quite a few of you who have followed my work were really looking forward to the playable release. And I hate to disappoint you, but I think that in the long run it's for the best. I go more into detail about this later, but for now let's just say that, yeah, well, it's Game Guru, you know, it fucking sucks. I mean, this does not mean that I will never use Game Guru again, but look, Spectre is a pretty large project, and I just noticed when making these alpha versions that there's just no way that I can connect all these levels and make a working game. How do I put this? Game Guru is okay if you make a short 3 to 4 level game. That's more or less what it's intended to do. But once you start to have like 15, 20 levels, like a big project like Dark Skies or Spectre, you run into problems. And Duke has done an exemplary job for Dark Skies, but Spectre... Just let me continue, it will make sense later on. So, if I feel this way, why did I try to force making a game in Game Guru for so long? Well, I don't want to ramble on for too long, but let's just say that I used the game creator's engine FPS Creator a lot. Now, FPS Creator was flawed and could be absolute jank as well, but at least there were many good games made with it. Over time, it was a whole community, there were some great titles. Well, great relative for the community. Now, nobody would pay money for these titles, but they were fun, come on. I mean, the majority of my games on this channel have been made with it. There are very few Game Guru games, less so. Game Guru has been out since roughly 2013 and there are maybe 5 halfway decent games around made with it. That's a pretty shitty track record simply because it's borderline impossible to finish a working stable game with it, and that then also runs well. I mean, just look at the frame rate of this video. Look at me walking around. Whenever I face an area with a bit of foliage, the FPS drops. And keep in mind, this is running on an RTX 3090 on an i9 with 64 GB RAM. It's abysmal. It's terrible. I think, to be completely honest, if I didn't use the engine so long out of strange form of Stockholm Syndrome, the only Game Guru game I would have ever played out of my own volition would have been Dark Skies and maybe Anthropocene Epoch. And that's it. That's 2 games. Oh wait. Dark Skies, Anthropocene Epoch, and Duke's other game, the cyberpunk game, something, Taipei Contract? Is that correct? Yeah, well, those 3 games I would have played, and for a game engine that has been around almost a decade, that's very poor. So why did I try... this language. Why did I keep trying anyway, if this is how I feel? Well, sir, as I said earlier, Stockholm Syndrome. But let's be serious. The thing about Game Guru is that it's almost capable. You get results quickly, custom guns, scripts, models, characters. It's all a breeze and easy to do compared to the learning curve you have in other engines. But when it comes to finishing your game, it's always where the things fall apart. stability issues, bugs, absurdly long loading times, terrible, and I mean terrible performance. I mean, look at the video. Notice how it tends to lag whenever a lot of foliage and geometry are on screen. As I said, I run a pretty decent computer. This should not be happening, not with a game looking like this. Yeah, you might not say about Wolf. The other Game Guru videos in the channel run way better. Well, yes, they do. But you have to sacrifice a lot of detail and scope for your level to achieve this, and I'm just tired of that. It's not just that you have to use fewer models, you also have to use fewer scripts. And if you use fewer scripts, you have less interactivity, less features. And I'm also just tired of looking how ugly Game Guru renders everything. Everything is always... it looks like Oblivion on the lowest settings sometimes. You know, the Game Guru engine, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Oblivion. That's what it reminds me of a lot of the time. Not that the visuals are a problem, but the performance issues and the way we have to remove features almost to have the levels run smoothly. That just bothers me. Again, I'm not going to quit Game Guru completely. I'm looking forward to the contests that Duke makes sometimes and taking part in that. Making little games that last 1 or 2 maps, that's fine for me. But I'm not going to continue this large project because I think it's a waste of time, to be honest. I just don't see how I can make a stable running project and finish it in Game Guru. And that is because I have sent you all alpha versions. A lot of you have tried earlier versions of Spectre, and every one of you had different issues. And let me just make. I made a list. Let me just check. These are the problems you have reported to me so far. Characters spawn in without heads or without hair. Characters have the wrong face. Crashes while trying to load a level. Seemingly endless loading screens. Performance issues even in small optimized levels. Faulty visual effects. The engine has no proper lighting system, dynamic shadows don't cast shadows, and static light mapping is broken. That's been a pet peeve of mine ever for the last decade. The AI tends to bug out and not react, or it's just plain goofy sometimes. That makes it very hard to make a first-person shooter game if the AI is always so damn awkward. Sound problems out the ass. I have to mix the ambient sound effects with the music, and most incidental sound triggers simply don't load. Light map levels don't load half of the geometry. Scripts can randomly decide not to work. The dialogue system bugs out whenever you save and load the game. The raw music starts playing in some sections when you pause the game. And those are just a few. There are more smaller issues that I could list, but I think you get the picture. And the problem is that a lot of these things I simply cannot fix because I don't experience them and I don't have access to the source code. Not to say that I'm a coder or anything, just really illustrate that there is nothing I can do for some of these problems. Like, why do half of my testers have NPCs with no heads? What can I do about that? The meshes are there. They load for other people. So I'm just fucked. And I'm not too thrilled about that. Now, of course, despite all this, I still invite you to take a look at Spectre's alpha versions on my channel. Just be aware to stitch these together and make a functional, enjoyable game out of it would be a Herculean task. Probably impossible. It would probably be something that lags and crashes for most people. So, I hope you understand my frustration. Maybe you can relate a little, I don't know. Maybe you didn't understand a word I said, that's fine too. But that is why I finally decided to migrate this project on the Unreal Engine. I just figured that at this point working on a complex engine like this is less time consuming and more fun than sticking to Game Guru forever. The truth is also that I barely worked on the game lately simply because I didn't want to look at it. I mean, I want my hobby back. I want to have fun. I want to do creative things. And with Game Guru, it's just so grating and irritating. And there were a lot of changes in my private life lately, so I can really use the distraction and coming home, having fun thing. And I'm just not experiencing that with Game Guru at the moment. And then there's Game Guru Max, and I think at this point I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to use Max, which is kind of marking the end for my decade-long era as a member of the game creators community. I'm not going to leave, but I'm just not going to use the engine, so I'm not going to engage that much with the community. I will stick around on the forums and the Discord, but I'm simply not going to use Game Guru Max engine, so I'm kind of useless in a way. Just doesn't click with me at all. I guess the rendering is an improvement, but it's now ugly in a different way. And I don't like where the project is going. It's really far away from the initial FPS creator idea. Game Guru was already kind of losing a lot of sight of what was great about that project. I think I just grew apart with the game creators and their vision of easy game making over time. Now the YouTube channel will likely see more FPS creator and Game Guru games. Whatever is good I put on here, no problem. But I will also showcase more FPS games made in other engines, and I will focus on small, obscure titles. Like I'm not going to put in something big on Steam. You know, I'm not going to make a video about the next Call of Duty, but certainly about hobbyist small games. You get the idea. Now, if you watch this somehow and you don't know who I am or what I'm talking about, and you made it this far, or you're simply only interested in Game Guru content, I will recommend to go to the channel called DK Productions. He does excellent games and great videos about Game Guru. I will put a link in the description. Just shout out to DK Productions and his games. Check out Dark Skies on Steam, it's fucking amazing. Great game. So, this is pretty much all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening. And I hope you stick around to see what my projects will look like in Unreal Engine. That's it. Have a good day. Peace. See you around.